There's stress and there's manufactured stress. Let's discuss the difference. Stress is normal. There are going to be times in life when we feel stress. It would be weird if we didn't in certain situations. We can learn to accept and acknowledge that stress without turning to food and things like that, okay? So that's number one. But also, let's talk about manufactured stress. Manufactured stress is taking stress to a whole new level. Here's what I mean. This is where catastrophizing comes into place, okay? And listen, I'm very familiar with this, all right? It's where you start to imagine those worst case scenarios that haven't yet occurred. It's where what ifing comes into play. What if this? What if this? What ifing in a negative, unhelpful way. It's just like going down the rabbit hole of like what could potentially happen to make a situation worse. That's your manufactured stress. It's the excessive worry. It's the obsessive thoughts about a situation, things that haven't yet come to fruition. And when we let our minds run like that, run wild without any boundaries, it's going to create additional stress on top of what is probably already a naturally stressful situation. We just got to get better at catching ourselves and creating some boundaries around the catastrophizing, the what ifing, the excessive worry, and the obsessive thoughts. When you can practice that and do that, it's going to reduce the amount of additional manufactured stress. And this is good news for anyone who struggles with stress eating. Because let's face it, when you turn to food for comfort from the feeling of stress, you can see where manufactured stress, extra stress, additional stress is going to get in the way of that. It's going to result in more emotional eating, more stress eating, possibly even more binge eating. The key is to start asking questions, like what's actually happening in the moment? What do I have control over? Most of the time, you do have control of your thoughts. So the idea is to get better at recognizing them, paying attention to them, bringing awareness to them, and bringing yourself back into the present moment. And finding other ways to relieve stress that don't involve food. Like writing, journaling, exercising, whatever. There's other things you can do. I personally love to exercise, but I know that that's not everybody's cup of tea as an immediate go-to. You got to find what works for you. But first thing first, recognize the difference for you between a normal stress response and a manufactured stress response, and see if you can, when you can start to tell the difference, see if you can bring yourself back into the moment instead of going off into the wild, if you know what I mean. If this is helpful, get more in the latest podcast episode on Fat to Fierce, The Confidence Chronicles, episode number 47. It's on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Be sure to follow for more.